Speech and Language Therapy Careers by Get Hackney Talking. What is your current role?
My name is Phoebe. I'm a speech and language therapist and I specialise in working in the early years. So I support children aged up to 5 years with communication difficulties such as language difficulties, speech difficulties, voice, stammering, and then swallowing difficulties as well.
Hi, my name is Dahlia. I'm a speech and language therapist and I work with children in mainstream primary schools, so that's children from reception to year 6.
As a speech and language therapy assistant, my day-to-day roles are to support therapists in primary schools, to either run sessions or give help with getting feedback from TAs about how they're finding sessions. Supporting with the programs, might be helping make some observations, writing some notes.
Hi, my name's Rashida and I'm a speech and language therapist that works with children under 5 and children in mainstream primary schools.
My name is Alicia and I'm a speech and language therapist working in Hackney, and right now I work in mainstream primary schools.
What qualifications or experience do you need for this role?
I don't think that for my role as a speech and language therapy assistant, there are so much qualifications that you need to have to do this role. I think it's more about the experience that you have. So for me, I had 5 years experience working at a special needs school where speech and language therapy was a massive part of the children that I worked with. Timetables and schedules every day, so I used to work quite a lot with therapists. They would show me how to run sessions and I would deliver them, or using PECs was a big part of my day, so I had that understanding already there and found it really interesting. But I did also have Elkland training certificate and PECs training certificate, which I think are both really useful.
Any experience where you're able to work well in a team, you're able to work well independently, you're flexible, adaptable, able to work well under pressure, have good time management skills, have a lot of patience, experiences where you're creative, and where you're able to demonstrate that you have great communication skills and interpersonal skills. To become a speech and language therapist, you need a degree in speech and language therapy. And you can get this either at an undergraduate level or a postgraduate level.
In order to get onto the course, you do need to have either A-levels or BTECs, but this would be specific for the university because some universities don't take BTEC courses. So have a look at sort of the entry requirements for each university.
What was your route into your role?
From working at the school, it was always something that I could see what a great impact it had on the children that I would work with, and I just always really found it interesting helping running some sessions or watching the sessions, and just the changes that it made and the impact that it had. So when I saw this job advertised, it was just a great way for me to get a bit more of an understanding and specialise in this more of a specific route.
I chose subjects at school that I enjoyed, so I did English, history and business and economics, and then when it came to going to university, again I just chose what I enjoyed, so I liked reading and I liked writing, so I did a degree in English studies at Nottingham University. On the course, I really enjoyed the parts that were about brain development and how we learn language. So I then took a year out working in a school, and I worked especially with children who had communication difficulties, and it really gave me that passion to want to help children to be able to access education in the same way as their peers. So I then went to City University and did a postgraduate diploma in speech and language therapy for 2 years, and at the time it was funded by the NHS, which was very helpful.
I actually studied in a Hackney primary and secondary school. I was only in sixth form for a year just because I didn't really enjoy it. I also didn't really do that well, but I had an amazing careers advisor who actually advised me to go do a BTEC, which would still allow me to go into university and would still allow me to do the course that I wanted to do. So then I did a 2-year BTEC course, which was great. I learned so much from that. And then whilst I was studying my BTEC course, I did quite a lot of volunteering in the community. So I did it in a nursery, I did it in an elderly daycare centre, and I also managed to volunteer in or with the speech and language therapy team in Hackney, which I was very lucky and fortunate to do. And I did that through Homerton Volunteers.
I studied psychology and sociology at an undergraduate level. When I left uni, to be honest, I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to work with people in a caring environment, but I wasn't sure where. I decided to become a support worker, working with adults with learning disabilities and autism. It was a really, really great role and a great experience. And I learned that I was interested in, working with people with autism, and decided that perhaps I wanted to follow that route, but working with children. I worked as a teaching assistant in my local primary school, and it was there that I came across a speech and language therapist. I was able to speak to her to understand what she was doing. It seemed really interesting to me, so I went to research it on the NHS website. It seems like something that I really was interested in, something that I really wanted to do, and something that actually excited me. So I applied to be a speech and language therapy assistant. I realised that this was the career for me. I studied speech and language therapy at a postgraduate level.
I originally pursued a career in special educational needs education. So basically I wanted to become a special needs teacher, specifically in elementary school. And the inspiration for that was because I have a younger brother with autism who's also nonverbal. And I was really dedicated to this. Up until about halfway through my course, I took a linguistics class that I absolutely fell in love with. And this linguistics class was all about children's language acquisition, or how children learn language. And I thought it was just fascinating. And that's actually how I learned about speech and language therapy as a career. And yeah, once I took that class, I decided to change course, and I went on to get my master's degree in speech and language sciences at UCL.
Any other tips?
Whether you know exactly what your career path is going to be, or whether you're not sure, they're both okay.
My main bit of advice would just be get as much experience as you can. I know it can be difficult, but sort of grab any experience or volunteering opportunities that are in front of you, because through each voluntary experience, you learn so much about yourself and you gain so many transferable skills. And definitely talk to your school's careers advisor, because I only took advantage of my careers advisor when I was in sixth form, but I would definitely suggest to just have a chat with them and ask for any advice, or just to talk about career options with them, because they are very knowledgeable in that area, and they can sort of guide you into an area that you didn't even know existed.
I think speech and language therapy is such a great career. Beyond the fact that it's incredibly rewarding, you also always have something new to learn. There's always something new to learn. And you can work in such a range of settings with many different populations. So you could work in a hospital, you could work inpatient, outpatient, in the community. You can work in private practice, or you could work in mainstream primary or special schools. And yeah, beyond being incredibly rewarding, you also never get bored. So it's a great career.
Every day is different, and I get to work with families and nursery staff from all different communities, and I really love being able to empower them to support children that they work with to reach their potential, and really help parents to understand how to support their children best. So I'd highly recommend a career in speech and language therapy.
For further information on speech and language therapy careers, you can visit the following websites. You can also contact us directly here in Hackney using the details below.